We are live.
Are we going?
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting of Board of Trustees to order for April 9th. First item is roll call.
Terry Bisbee,
Here.
Rod Calhoun,
Here.
Marla Erickson,
Here.
David Marshall,
Here.
Todd Miller,
Here.
Mo Penny,
Here. And everybody.
Bob Snyder, Chair.
Here. Okay, before I read the instructions, I had a few thoughts this afternoon about this meeting, and I just wanted to share my thoughts. I put them down on paper for you. I'm surrounded by very quality people here, and I appreciate them very much. But in my opinion, it's pretty lonely. We miss the rest of you who are on Zoom. It feels like part of our family is missing, even though you're on video or voice contact with us. I hope our family will be together and cheer soon. Thank you. Now read your instructions. Tonight's meeting is being held virtually with several members of the Board of Trustees and institutional staff participating remotely and members of the public listening and or viewing remotely. The meeting will start with all microphones muted. When a board member or staff needs to verbally contribute to the meeting, please unmute your mic and ask to be recognized. The mute/unmute icon is located on the left of your screen. I think most of you have already seen that. When I recognize someone, everyone else should keep their microphones muted so the listeners or observers can hear the proceedings unimpeded. Each time you're recognized to speak, please state your name and your title before you begin so that you can readily be identified by listeners and observers. Meeting participants should not share their screen unless directed to do so. Screen sharing will be used to display the agenda and other documents. For each action item, I will state a motion and ask if someone will make the motion. For each motion made, I will ask for a second. Please state your name before making and seconding the motion. After each motion is made, seconded, and voted upon, the board secretary will announce the results of the vote. We will not have an opportunity for public comment during this meeting tonight. We will have an executive session to discuss the negotiations, which will last 20 minutes. Executive session will commence at the end of the public portion of the meeting, and no action will be taken by the board.
Okay. Hold on just a second.
Okay, you've all had a chance to read the minutes or the agenda.
Bob, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Glenn, can you let the person who's in the waiting room in?
Judy Snyder.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Judy, you're going to be joined here. Okay. Bob, before you go on, I want to make one clarification. We will not be displaying the agenda on the screen. The agenda can be found at board docs. It's hcc.edu/board meetings. And so if any participants need that agenda, that is where they can find it.
Okay.
And one more thing. Do I have someone on the telephone, on the conference call on the telephone? Hello?
Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the agenda.
This is
This is
Ron.
Marla.
Go ahead.
This is Marla, and I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Rod, I will second.
And moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
no. Motion carried. Okay, we have two board meetings to approve, and we can take them both at once, can't we, Carter?
Yeah.
The March 12th, 2020 regular meeting and the March 20th, 2020 special meeting. I'll accept a motion to accept both of those meetings.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this is Terry Bisbee, trustee. I move that we accept the minutes of our March 12th regular meeting and the March 20th special meeting as presented.
Okay, Terry made the motion. Do I have a second?
Todd seconded.
Todd. Okay. Todd seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Approval of the college bills. I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, this is David Marshall, trustee.
Go ahead.
I move to approve the warrant and invoice lists of college bills in the amount of $4,583,123.58 as presented.
Do I have a second?
This is
Mr.
Rod,
Chairman.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, the consent agenda, personnel and surplus. Is there any items that anyone wants to pull out separately? I have one, but I'll wait and see if some of the board members want to talk about that one. Hearing none, the one that I wanted the Carter to talk about a little bit about was I don't have this booted up, but the one with the salary of $60,000, entrepreneur navigator, okay.
The recommendation is to employ Jackson Square as the entrepreneur navigator and program director. This is a partnership that we have with the Quest Center. The Quest Center board decided that they needed to have an additional position to be a spokesperson for entrepreneurs and somebody to lead the entrepreneur effort in Reno County, in Hutchinson and Reno County. The position is $60,000. The entire cost of that position will be paid for by either the Quest Center Fund, which comes from the Community Foundation, the city, and the county. Hutchinson Community College's piece of this partnership is we will maintain the position as an employee, but the entire cost, including benefits, will come from outside sources. So again, this is part of the partnership to improve entrepreneurship in Reno County. And I would answer any questions.
Do you have any questions for Carter or any other questions on personnel or surplus property? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to approve the consent agenda A and B.
Mr. Chairman, this is Marla Erickson, trustee. I move to approve the consent agenda A, personnel, and B, surplus property as presented.
Thank you, Marla. Do I have a second?
And Chairman, this is Terry Bisbee, trustee. I'll second that motion.
Okay, Todd seconded. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. We'll move on to reports and recognitions. The HLC, Cindy.
Yes, good evening. I just had a couple of things to tell you. I spent the early part of this week doing a visit in Michigan at a community college, just like we're doing this board meeting. Sometimes we had 60 people in the cells. Sometimes we had just the executive team. We did it with their board of trustees as well. We could see anybody's faces. So it's created an interesting dynamic. So I don't know if our visit will proceed like the one I just did. I now have Ryan's 2 chapters, 3 and 4, teaching and learning, and then the data chapter in hand, and I'm reviewing those right now, which means we're getting closer to a complete book. Chapter 1 still needs the retraining policy that you're going to look at this evening. And then 2 has been out to review to committees. And when I get through Ryan's 3 and 4, we will send them out to committees, which you may also review if you desire. So that's kind of where we are with our report. It's supposed to be ready and loaded by July for a visit. We do have our team. Carter and I have reviewed the team, and we found them to be acceptable folks from various colleges around the United States. So we also have that available if anyone is interested. So I conclude my report, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hearing none, thank you very much, Cindy, for your
You're
report.
welcome.
Next is Student Dining Facilities Expansion Project. Julie?
Julie Blanton, Vice President of Finance and Operations. The cafeteria project, or the student dining facility project, is actually moving along nicely. We have gotten most, if not all, of the utilities taken care of and switched over. We've gotten all of the stem walls poured, all the rebar and everything that's ready for the foundation is completed. One of the things we were waiting for is for those large piles of dirt that you saw that were just east of the building. We're waiting for that to dry out so we can put that back as backfill, and then we're waiting for that to compact. So that has dried out. We've had some wonderful weather lately that's been dry. They've been putting it back in, and if you've driven by there lately, you'll notice those piles are getting smaller. That means they are very close to pouring the floor of the new kitchen. In addition, on the inside of the building, they have just started, because we have no students, unfortunately, we have given them the entire cafeteria, all of the basement area that they were going to remodel, and all of the office space and everything that we had upstairs. So, and the kitchen, the old kitchen. So they have started demolition on all of that this week. So they are, the nice thing about all of this is they are now back on schedule.
Any questions for Julie? Let me ask you this, can you all on Zoom, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, very
Yes.
good. Okay, next item is also Julie's 1021 retaining guarantee, second reading.
Mr. Chairman,
That was not mine.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
Terry Bisbee, trustee. In conjunction with the cafeteria project, I was curious about the football facility project. I don't know if that's something Julie can answer or not, but could we get an update on that?
Yeah, so the football facility project is also continuing to move along in spite of COVID-19. It is scheduled to be done, I believe, sometime in June, and that they're making really good progress on that too. They've, on the inside, demolition is complete. Most of the new walls and the new design has gone up. We've finalized most of the hard surfaces in the flooring and the colors and all of that, doors and paint and all of that. So I think they're well on their way to having that complete.
Thank you, Julie.
thank you for asking that, Terry. That was a question I had that I really forgot to ask. The 1020, the next item on old business is Cindy's item, 1021 retaining guarantee, second reading. Cindy?
Yes, we brought this to you last month about Cindy Haas, Vice President of Academic Affairs. We brought this to you last month about upgrading this policy to have more specifics so that if someone does indeed go to an employer and need retraining via the employer's recommendation, we can actually accomplish a project with a group of leaders, the faculty member, the employer, the student who needs retraining, and the department chair to work on a kind of a projected plan of study. And it would have a certain timeline and it would be finished in a certain timeline. So those things were not in the original policy. So there's greater detail should anyone want to access this opportunity. Thank you.
Questions for Cindy before we entertain a motion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for 1021 retaining guarantee. This is the second reading.
Mr. Chairman, this is Rod Calhoun, trustee. I move to approve the revised number 1021 retaining guarantee policy as presented.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Trustee, this is, or Mr. Chairman, this is Marla Erickson, trustee, and I would second the motion.
It moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on to new business curriculum report. Ryan Dale.
Hi, this is Ryan Deal, Curriculum and Program Improvement Coordinator. And for the curriculum report, I'm going to give a summary of the summary and give a few examples from each of the departments. If you have any further questions about any of the courses, feel free to ask. In Department 1, we had 16 course modifications, 1 new course, and 4 program modifications. A few courses I'd like to mention is PN 115 KSPN Foundations of Nursing Clinicals, which was a credit hour modification. This falls underneath the Kansas State Board of Nursing and also KBOR's approved curriculum for this, for the expansion from the 1 credit hour to 2 credit hours to help further be able to teach the outcomes and competencies. And then you'll see many courses from our HIM program with the HR, and these with prerequisites. This is actually removal of prerequisites to be able to open up these courses much better for students to be able to enroll in these. An example of one of these removals would be all of our cancer registry classes with HR 260s in that range, with the removal of medical terminology. And then moving to Department 2, we had 12 course modifications and then 21 new courses and 5 program modifications and 2 new programs. And which the new courses, the exciting one in here, are our barbering courses for a new barbering program for both a AAS and also Certificate B. In Department 4, we had 1 course modification, and this was caused by the discussions at last fall's Kansas Core Outcomes meetings. And then Department 5, we had 4 course modifications, 5 new courses, 2 program modifications, and 1 new program. And for this one, I'd like to talk about the course modification EM 120 and also new course EM 122, which is the advanced EMT. This is providing a new opportunity for a lot of the service area. There's a growing number of current EMTs that are choosing to become advanced EMTs versus paramedics. And then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any others.
Do you have any questions for Ryan, any of the board members?
Mr. Chairman, Terry Bisbee, trustee.
Go ahead, Terry.
Ryan, is the barbering going to be taught at the cosmetology facility?
Yes, it is. And actually, although these are a lot of new courses, a lot of the course content is already being taught in the cosmetology classes. We have a very nice crosswalk that shows with the overlap. And then, so that way students that are studying cosmetology can take a few additional courses and be able to get their barbering certificate.
Super, thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Other questions for Ryan? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the courses that Ryan outlined.
Mr. Chairman, this is David Marshall, trustee.
Go ahead, David.
I move to approve the curriculum report as presented.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is Marla Erickson, trustee. I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Updates to course fees. Cindy?
This is Cindy Haas, Vice President of Academic Affairs. When we put in new courses, there are accompanying fees. So these things go with the curriculum report that Ryan just presented. The advanced EMT is going to take some fees for testing, rental, uniform, software, and so on. HIM is putting in a fee for student membership. And then there are decrease in course fees for fire safety, marksmanship, and firearms. So the fees have to follow the curriculum. And sometimes they don't hit the exact time when we're doing all of the large fee lists for you. Thank you.
Okay, anybody have questions for Cindy on the update to the course fees? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the course fees, the updates.
Mr. Chairman, this is Todd Miller, trustee. I move to approve the updates to the course fees as presented.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is Terry Bisbee, trustee. I second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. I'll try to give a little bit of a pause in there because sometimes the ayes don't come through all at the same time. So I'll be a little bit more courteous on that. Okay, new business C 2020-04-09, resolution of authority. Julie?
Julie Bland, Vice President of Finance and Operations. We have 3 signers on all of our bank accounts, and they are always the same 3 individuals. It's the chairman of the Board of Trustees, it's the treasurer of the college, and it's my position, which is Vice President of Finance and Operations and also clerk of the board. So those 3 signers, anytime one of those 3 positions changes and a different person occupies that position, we have to go back to our bank or our banks. We bank at 3 different banks and notify them of all of the changes. And there's a lot of paperwork that we have to fill out. With the increasing regulations with security, our banks are starting to ask the individuals to provide information like our social security numbers, our driver's license, and other types of personally identifiable information that we are choosing not to provide to the bank. And so we asked the bank, because in the form that they were asking it on, it was looking like they were going to hold the 3 individual signers as the responsible parties for the account. And so we went back to the bank and said, no, the college is the responsible party for the account, and we are simply acting on behalf of the college in our respective capacities. And so the bank said, well, that's fine, let's do a resolution. So that's what we have brought before you tonight, is a resolution. It's essentially saying the same, and we will have these resolutions now every time the board chair changes, or if the treasurer position changes, or if my position changes. And this resolution is simply saying that the board is authorizing the 3 people mentioned in it to act on behalf of the college in their respective capacities and to draw checks on those accounts, transfer money on those accounts, and make deposits into those accounts.
Julie, I've never asked this question before, but I'm sure there's some real advantages, but why do we have 3 banks, 3 accounts, then 3 different banks?
Well, that's a good question. We had 3 banks when I started. The FDIC says that you can only insure a bank account up to a certain amount of money. But yeah, $250,000. But outside of that, you can still have larger amounts of money than that in a particular bank, and they can pledge securities and other types of financing arrangements against those funds. So it's not that we have to have the money distributed because of FDIC requirements. I would say that we have to have separate bank accounts. For example, our general fund holds all of our federal financial aid, and federal financial aid rules have strict stipulations on what type of bank accounts those can be held in. So we have all of that money in one fund. Then we have what we call our auxiliary funds and our student, all of the student accounts receivable, all the money that we bring in from students, that's in a completely separate bank account. The reasons that we have those in separate accounts is because we have separate requirements that we have to fulfill in order to wire the money out or to bring money in. The reason that we have those separate accounts at different banks, I would say that that was all established long ago in order to make sure that the money was placed in more than one bank inside the community.
Okay.
But that's my guess.
Well, thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just was wondering.
And we do have, state statutes make it very specific of banks that we can't place our money in. So the bank has to have a branch within either Reno County, Harvey County, or McPherson County. Wherever we have a facility or a site, the bank must have a branch that we can utilize. And then there's some other restrictions that we're held to.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mo Penny, trustee. I wonder if part of that would be the college gets support from the banks here in town too. And we get support from more than one bank,
We do.
you know, as far as advertising and things like that. And I would think that might be a detriment if we took one of those banks away. We might not get the support or well, I guess that's right, might not get the support that we get today from them. And I know we get
On
financial.
athletics, why
Yeah,
the bank support a game night or something.
yeah, they do. And you wouldn't think they would be that small, but they might be. And Mr. Chairman, I have one more question too.
Okay.
Do you, the people that sign the checks, are you covered by a bond of any kind, a surety bond? Okay.
We are.
Other questions? I'll accept the motion to approve 2020-0409 resolution of authority.
Mr. Chairman, this is Rod Calhoun. Trustee, I move to approve number 2020-0409 resolution of authority between Hutchinson Community College and RCB Bank, Hutchinson, Kansas, as presented.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, Mo Penny, trustee, I would second it, please.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, new business D, 2020-0409-2, resolution of payments. That's Carter, I believe.
Yeah, at the special meeting on the 20th, we asked you to approve this first resolution that would advance the effort to make sure that we're paying all of our employees through, actually, that resolution expires tomorrow. We're asking you to extend this resolution to May the 6th, which is the day after the May board meeting. Again, the reason we have to do this is because we may be paying individuals who are not on campus doing their work full time. We've been asked by various different agencies and various different state agencies and governmental agencies to try to maintain full employment. So this is, in the spirit of that, we would ask the board to approve this for another month, give us an opportunity to to consider looking at this or to continue looking at this. We received notification today from the Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education. And in the paperwork that they sent us, there is a one sentence that they're giving us approximately $2.3 million to about 50% of that goes to students, 50% of that goes to the college to cover expenses related to the COVID-19 virus. There's a specific line in it that says, and I'm not quoting this, but it says something to the effect of the expectation is that the college is receiving this money will, is that the,
I got it.
can I see that for just a second? I want to just read this line to you.
Pretty much.
If I can find the exact line, document the recipient has continued paying all of its employees. Thank you. Julie underlined it for me. Document that recipients has continued to pay all of its employees and contractors during the period of any disruption or closure to the greatest extent practical. Explaining all, this is what we have to report to the Fed. Explaining in detail all specific action and decisions related thereto in compliance with section 18006 of the CARES Act. So they're asking us to maintain full employment as well, because as we are all aware, one of the biggest problems is that people are not getting paychecks. So we would ask the board to approve this, approve rolling this resolution forward for another month and allowing us to look at this in another month. And with that, I would stand for any questions. By the way, I'm over here in the corner where you can't see me.
We're keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, they're keeping me in line. So again, I'd be happy to stand for any questions on this.
Any board members have questions for Carter? Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve resolution 2020-0409-2.
Mr. Chairman, this is Marla Erickson, trustee. I hereby move to approve the adoption of Resolution 2020-0409-2, authorizing the college to continue wage payments to idled employees effective for the period commencing as of the date of adoption hereof and continuing through May 6th, 2020, unless the board takes action to authorize payment during a period of longer duration.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, Terry Bisbee, trustee.
Go ahead, Terry.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, been moved to second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay. E, the resolution of the gifts, 2020-0409-3, and that's Julie.
Julie Blanton, Vice President of Finance and Operations. So this resolution is asking the board to accept a gift. We do have a couple here in Hutchinson, John L. Corey and Marcia K. Corey. They have generously offered to donate a property to the college. The address is 721 East 11th Avenue. And the resolution that we're bringing forward tonight simply allows the board to accept the gift. It also allows Dr. File to execute the gift agreement, and the gift agreement has been put into the board's packet rather late. It is a draft because we're still negotiating all of the language in it, but it includes the address and it includes all of the major details of the agreement. And I'll answer any questions that you have on that.
Any board members have questions for Julie about this?
Mr. Chairman, Terry Bisbee, trustee.
Go ahead, Terry.
I assume this is property with a dwelling on it, or is it just an empty lot?
No, it has a house on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? It's kind of these people that donate that to the college. I'll accept a motion to approve the resolution of the gift 2020-0409-3.
Mr. Chairman, Terry Bisbee, trustee. Did you hear me, Bob?
Yes.
I move to approve resolution 2020-0409-3 to accept with gratitude the gift and donation of real property from the John L. Corey Trust and the Marcia K. Corey Trust as set forth and in accordance with the gift agreement included and incorporated herein by reference.
Thank you, Terry. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is Rod Calhoun, trustee. I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. At this point in time, we'll go into executive session for 20 minutes, and it requires a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Terry.
Bisbee, trustee. I move that the board recess for a closed executive session in STC room 205 to discuss employee negotiations pursuant to the exception provided by the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and that President File and Vice President Blanton be included in the executive session to advise the board. The open meeting of the board will resume. I guess we're not resuming in the Justice Theater, but
Oh, resume right here.
STC 205.
Zoom right here.
close enough, of the Shears Technology Center at 7:58 PM, and that no binding action shall be taken by the board during such executive session.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is Marla Erickson, trustee. I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that we go into negotiations for 20 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. We're now in executive session.
There will be no binding action after